Howdy.
Hi, Kimball. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing great. So to start, I have a question. When you're playing a character that is as socially awkward and kind of, I don't want to say neurotic, but like
Oh, definitely.
when you're expect it's in the first moment of the trailer, you're like, oh, World War III, great. I know exactly who this person kind of is. How do you as an actor tackle a character like that is kind of so in their head the entire time?
Oh my God. Yeah, definitely. No, so yeah, it's a wild undertaking for sure because it's just such an oddball mix of being like all at once a child and there's something whimsical about him, but like he clearly is a sociopath. Like it really is like if Napoleon Dynamite was a sociopath. And so and so it's such an interesting mix to play with because you are almost looking to inspirations like kids that are like six, like because that's almost where his mind's at. But then you're also looking at like real sociopaths, and I think sociopaths do have that degree of being a kid, but it's just like because like I'm thank God I don't think I am one, but like you hear of these stories of like sociopaths like and I don't even know if I'm talking about the right or psychopath either, or you hear these stories of them like doing destructive things when they're a kid, and it's like really like this. We need to talk about Kevin. Like, oh, look where he's going. And I think Hippo, it really was playing with that because you're playing with this. He really is a kid, kind of getting handed everything by his mom, and he's isolated, and he gets whatever he wants. He gets a crossbow if he wants, and then you're seeing him, through these like almost 3 acts, getting more and more insane. So it was definitely wild, but I think yeah, you just at once have this Venn diagram of child and sociopath, and you're like, yeah,
Where's the middle?
yeah, yeah. Where's the middle? The middle is Hippo. Yeah,
Well, and it's one of those things too. You mentioned Napoleon Dynamite, but it also reminds me of like kind of how Michael Cera approaches things, where it's like talk, 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 and you're like, well, I don't know what you're saying right now. You're saying 20 things at the same time. But then also movies like My Friend Dahmer, where it's like you're seeing the
yeah,
origin of the
yes,
monster as it is. But
yes.
did you have you said Napoleon Dynamite, but if he was a sociopath, but did you have specific kind of inspirations to how you wanted Hippo to act and interact with others in scenes?
Definitely. I think like for me, I think the biggest inspirations were it's this mix of okay, um there's a few things. One definitely was we really loved the way that like some characters speak in like Yorgos Lanthimos movies, and so we borrowed a bit of that. And then also like I am a big fan of Javier Bardem in No Country for Old Men, and so you're like, what if you took No Country what if Michael Cera played Anton Chigurh in No Country for Old Men?
Yeah.
That's Hippo right there. And so you're like you you're looking at all these characters, and then also like definitely like we need to talk about Kevin and just more of those like kind of like those scary characters, but then also like there was this weird guy that like I don't even know if I should mention because he's like this very small YouTube internet following, but like I don't know how he found this like clearly like do you go on like Instagram Reels much? You'll
If
find like wild
I play
people on.
a video and then it like just scrolls, then yes. But otherwise, I'm like,
Yeah,
what?
yeah, yeah. Like it's funny. Whoa, I'm so sorry I dropped my phone. um, but it's funny because like there's we found this wild guy online who's like claiming to be like Jesus Christ and clearly far gone, and he had like this small following, but like there was something about his videos that was so scary, and like he looked like in his eyes like gone, like and like scary. And so I borrowed a bit of him. And so this mix of like this, all of these aspects, and then yeah, like bringing that to be like really he is like if you put Napoleon Dynamite or Michael Cera in No Country for Old Men, and you're like there, that's your mix right there. But it's it's a wild mix.
But it's perfect because it reminds me of, I don't know if you've ever seen this show, but there's a show called It's the End of the Fucking World.
Oh,
And
I've heard that's so
Loeffler,
good.
Alex Loeffler plays this
Yes,
guy who is a sociopath, and he's like, "Oh, I want to kill," but he like the whole thing is that he
yeah,
doesn't kill, and he like falls in love, but it's like
yes,
he wants to kill someone, and it
yes.
like reminded me of that in tone because that's what's so important about this movie is like, yeah, this character's wild, but he's also like the tone of the movie makes it work. How was
Yes.
it on set making sure that that tone came to life in a movie like this where you have a main character who's kind of off the rails from the jump.
Definitely. Well, it's funny you say that. Also, like I'm just thinking the imagery of that. Like I know the character wears a lot of Hawaiian shirts, right? And I think Hippo also does. Um, but um, but great comparison. I've been meaning to watch that. I've seen clips. It looks really good. So yeah, it's interesting because what's funny is so we wrote it and it was really there was a lot of funny moments on the page, but the way I was looking at it was I genuinely thought, okay, this is like a dark, like Shakespearean psychological drama where it's like this is like a dark, evil anti-hero, but so I was like taking it very seriously on set. Like this is a psychopath, not doing any crazy psychopath like method acting, but I just was like, emotionally like I was like I'm just gonna be in this because this guy's insane. But then on set, you have people come up to you like they're like, this is like Napoleon Dynamite, and I was like, what? Like like I was like I did not like I was like the first time someone came up and said that I was like you're wrong. Like I was like I don't believe you. But then as time went on, and then like as we got to the editing room, I think what helped make it work is, I think the other actors were the same. Everyone was taking it so seriously, like it is Shakespeare. But then, so when you get into the editing room, I think that's what makes the jokes funnier because no one's playing for a joke. They're all like in this world, everyone's like so serious, and it's like, and so I think it makes the jokes a lot funnier. And then when I watched it, I was like, oh, this actually is a comedy. Like it wasn't until I watched it, like it's obviously a dark comedy, but it wasn't until I watched it did I know, oh, it's funny. Um, and at first I didn't know how to feel about it. I was like, this is such a weird feeling, but
Yeah, I love it. For like, my last question, I do want to ask on that, like after the fact where you see it and you see how funny it is, like literally looking at a Hungarian child and saying that she's Hitler
yeah,
with youth. But like,
yes, it's crazy dialogue.
do you have a moment where you were like, when you saw the finished product, you were like, oh, this is genuinely funny and I love this scene that you maybe when you first saw it did not think that it was going to be that funny?
Definitely. I mean, like I remember like I remember filming like for instance the birthday party scene, and I remember in that moment like I just was very heavily in it, and I was almost in a bad mood in real life because because living with like this kind of character that's so like dark, you do have to kind of get yourself there in order to stay there because if you keep if you're smiling. I love the Inside Llewyn Davis poster, by the way. I'm
Oh,
sorry, I just never
that's
really.
like an
Um,
Oscar Isaac corner back here.
I love it. I love it. But I sorry that. But when you're living with like a character that's like so dark in this way, you kind of have to stay in it. I remember being in like a bad, almost like a bad mood, just because your character's in a bad mood. And then later when I watched it, I thought it was one of the funniest scenes. I was like, I like, and it happened a few times. There was like, there. I think it's just like a testament to like hopefully it's one of the more accessible movies that are like dark in this way because you're not only watching something about like a psychopath but you're having a good time hopefully too, and I think that's kind of what the movie does.
I agree. Thank you so much for talking with me today. I really appreciate it. And I can't wait for everyone to get to see Hippo.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your time with me.
Of course. Have a great
Have a
day.
good one. Bye.
Bye.